Hey everybody, MorbTron here. Today I want to talk more in depth about Beyond Light, go into the deep nitty-gritty stuff that I didn't get to mention in my last video. A few days ago I made a video giving my initial impressions of the expansion of Beyond Light, and I'm not going back on anything I said in that video. Like I said in the beginning of that video, I am very biased when it comes to Destiny related content because I like Destiny. And if you give me more Destiny, I'm going to like it. It's like giving a kid that likes chocolate more chocolate. Even if that chocolate happens to be not their favorite flavor of chocolate, it's still chocolate. It's still good. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about all the stuff, even the bad stuff, about Beyond Light. And there is a fair amount of bad stuff that Destiny Bungie really needs to focus on and fix. Starting out with Stasis, the elephant in the room with Beyond Light. Now, the way that we have obtained our Stasis subclass, I think, was better than anything Bungie has done in the past. Going all the way back to Destiny 1 to Taken King, when we got those subclasses, the new subclasses added in, like the Sunbreaker Titan. That little quest that we got was neat, it was fun, but that was it. It was just one and done. Bam, new subclass. And then you, of course, had to unlock the things with a new subclass, but that's another topic. In Destiny 2, when we got our new subclasses in Forsaken, we just got them. There was no, hey, go do a quest, here's some lore about why this is a thing. We just got them. So that was kind of lame. I wish they had more of a story there, but the way we've obtained Stasis, the story, the lore, Anna Bray getting involved, you know, the Exo Stranger, Elsie Bray. Very cool, very neat. I don't think that anything should have been time-gated. Because right now, if you've played through everything you could have this week, you have not unlocked everything for Stasis. There's a lot of stuff that has been time-gated in this DLC, and I'm not a fan of time-gating. If you have content to give people to play, let the people play it. That is my opinion. Another big pain point about the expansion overall was that people, I don't know if they forgot, weren't informed at all to begin with, but we have Season 12 starting next week. The DLC, for whatever reason, didn't launch with the Season of the Hunt. So we still have all that seasonal content that we have yet to even see or play through, and that's involving Osiris and Uldren Sov, aka the Crow. So we have all of that. There are some new weapons being added in, but not enough. That's something we'll talk about in a bit. Back to Stasis. In PvP, like the footage you're seeing in the background right now, that's all competitive PvP from a couple days ago, trying to just farm for powerful gear. And it was very painful because Stasis is basically a plague of toxicity in the Crucible because it is very, very overpowered and very cheesy. Now, the reason why I think a lot of people hate Stasis in PvP is because getting frozen is very jarring. It takes you out of the gameplay, you can't control your character, you're left there helpless, and most of the time you get taken out because of it. And there's nothing you can do. You can't outskill getting frozen. If you get frozen, you're frozen. And the only thing you can do to get out of freeze is to spam your class ability button like there's no tomorrow and hope that the person doesn't just run up and shotgun you or melee you to shatter you, or you don't take any bit of just random splash damage and die from that as well. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna die if you get frozen. Getting frozen out of a super feels absolutely terrible. It feels like you just get totally robbed. And it's just not a good time. That whole freeze mechanic really needs to be rebalanced. Now, if someone in a Stasis super freezes you, that doesn't feel as bad because that's a super. But if it's just a grenade or a melee ability halfway across the map, that feels really bad. And getting frozen out of a super, now granted you're still in super, you're just frozen, that needs to not be a thing at all. If you're in a super, you should be immune to getting frozen. That's just bottom line. You know, if a Stasis super takes you out, that's one thing, super versus super. But nobody should just be able to Warlock melee you out of your super or freeze you. Or a cold snap grenade that'll seek you out around the corner, down the hallway, and into next Tuesday. That's just not cool. So that needs to be fixed and balanced pronto. Otherwise, Crucible is going to become a toxic soup of just garbage, just overall. Now, Stasis in PvE, I think is really fun. You can't really knock Stasis in PvE. Freezing a bunch of enemies and shattering them to death is fun in PvE land. Now, as far as weapons and sunsetting goes, somebody in that last video asked me, why didn't I touch on sunsetting at all in my review video for Beyond Light? And I gotta say that's because I had kind of already put sunsetting behind me last season. So when sunsetting was announced, I stopped using any weapon that was going to be sunset, for better or worse, because the weapon wasn't going to be around anymore. It will still be there, but useless in PvE content. I just decided that I wasn't going to use them. Even weapons that I only use in like quick play Crucible, I stopped using them altogether, because if they weren't going to be used in things like Iron Banner or Trials of Osiris, power enabled PvP, I didn't want to build skill using those weapons any further, so I moved on to only weapons that weren't going to get sunset. So the reason why I didn't mention sunsetting at all, is how that word is said, is because I'd already kind of put that behind me. So my apologies. I know a lot of people are still kind of upsetty spaghetti about losing, their mountaintop or their whatever. A lot of people probably upsetty spaghetti they can't mountaintop somebody out of existence anymore, but that's another topic. Now, as far as new weapons being added in, there are a total of 31 new weapons being added in Beyond Light and Season of the Hunt. I'm hoping that they're adding more in as the season goes, or maybe they haven't added in all the seasonal weapons yet, and there'll be a patch next Tuesday, but it's really not looking to be that way. And we have 6 new exotic weapons that's included in those 31, and 5 of those 31 weapons are adept versions of trial weapons that you can only get for going flawless in trials, and really they're just slightly better versions of trials weapons we've already had. So removing those exotics and those trials adept weapons, we have 20 new weapons added in for Beyond Light and Season of the Hunt. That's just not enough. This is a looter shooter. You should get new weapons galore every time a yearly expansion comes out. Not having a vendor refresh for weapons, even if they just gave us like 2 weapons per vendor. 2 new Vanguard weapons, 2 new Crucible weapons, 2 new Gambit weapons. I think people would have been a lot happier with that. Just give us more new weapons. That's all we want. We just want new pew-pews that go pew-pew, because the game is literally a looter shooter, so if you don't give us more pew-pews to loot, we don't get new pew-pews to shoot, and that's just not how a looter shooter works. So yeah, a little bit sore on that subject. And a lot of the exotic weapons, they're gimmicky. But we haven't gotten our hands on a lot of them either, so we'll have to see. Now, comparing this DLC to past DLCs like Forsaken and Shadowkeep, Beyond Light is just flat out better than Shadowkeep. Sorry to say. We had one returning destination from Destiny 1 back in Shadowkeep, and we had one whole raid and 2 dungeons the entirety of that year. Going into Beyond Light, we're having our first raid next week, going live on Saturday, and then at some point in time we have Vault of Glass returning, which has a lot of nostalgia. And granted, I understand that is a Destiny 1 raid. It's getting a fresh coat of paint and getting thrown back at us, but it is a raid, and Vault of Glass is a good raid. So knowing we're getting a good raid coming back and not like another Spire of Stars, that's refreshing. Vault of Glass is a big raid that has a lot of cool loot, and I can't wait to get my hands on it again. And it's just going to be good times. But hopefully we'll get some new dungeons, and we'll see what happens. But comparing apples to apples here, what Shadowkeep gave us versus what Beyond Light gave us. We didn't get a new subclass. We got 0 new destinations. Moon was returning. And in Beyond Light, we got Europa, which is massive. And we get Cosmodrome returning. And some new Light player quest lines are better. So that's cool. That's neat. We'll have to really hope and pray that Season of the Hunt that starts on Tuesday is a good season. Hopefully the seasonal content is fantastic. We'll have to wait and see what the seasonal gimmick is, though, to make a call on that one. Now, comparing it to Forsaken. Forsaken undid a lot of the bad that Destiny 2 originally brought over. Like the double primary locked-in system, no weapon random rolls. The armor system was terrible. Forsaken was just like a complete refresh to the game. And we got new subclasses. The storyline was pretty decent. I think the storyline potentially could have been a lot better if they hadn't spoiled the fact that Cayde 6 was going to die. But for whatever reason, they decided to spill the beans on that immediately, which they shouldn't have done. Because comparing the storyline to storyline, Beyond Light to Forsaken, they're about the same for me as far as like how they felt, you know, how long they were, all that sort of thing. They feel about the same. But I think that as far as shock value goes and storytelling, the Forsaken campaign would have been better if they didn't spoil the fact that Cayde was going to die. Just flat out. But as far as, you know, destinations go, the raids, the dungeons we got in Forsaken, obviously there was a lot more content in Forsaken, so I think that was probably a better DLC, better expansion overall than Beyond Light. But they've done some things better in Beyond Light than they did in Forsaken. The engine update is nice. The Stasis subclass and lore behind getting that is nice. So there are a few things that stand out way better than Forsaken, but overall Forsaken just had more. There's a ton of weapons, a ton of loot, a ton of everything added in Forsaken that Beyond Light just doesn't have. It'd be nice to have new Crucible maps. Gambit maps, it'd be nice to have those as well. But Gambit overall, the change that they made to it, I'm going to make another video about Gambit in the future once I get my hands on more Gambit time. But my initial impressions of Gambit is that they had good intentions for what they did, combining Gambit Prime and regular Gambit. But there's a lot of things that are a swing and a miss with that as well. And I'll save that for another video because I can go into a lot of depth with Gambit. Because I actually enjoy Gambit. If they would just play test it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I think I've hit every single topic I needed to talk about in this video. So if you thought I missed something again, let me know in the comments section. I'm not against people saying I should have talked about something. Just try to be nice to each other in the comment section. I see a lot of people going at each other's throats in the comment section of that video. Just be nice. Just be nice to each other. But that's it for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button for me. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new here, subscribe for more. But don't forget to have a good day, everybody. And I will catch you all next time.